good afternoon, my student. How are you today? Okay, I'm fine too. Last week we had learned about report text, and today we will continue our lesson. But before we start our lesson, I want we to read a story with the title is The Story of City Surabaya. Let's start it. Once upon a time, there are two animals, Sura and Baya. Sura is the name of shark, and Baya is a crocodile. They live in the ocean. Somewhere, Sura and Baya are looking for food. Suddenly, Baya saw a goat. Yummy! This is eating my lunch. Baya said, No way, this is my lunch. You are greedy, said Sura. Then they struggled to get a goat, and after a few hours, they struggled. Feeling tired of fighting, they live in different places. Sura live in water, and Baya live on the ground. The border is a sandy beach, so they will never fight again. One day, Sura went to the woodland and looked for food on the river. He was very satisfied and not much food at sea. Baya is very angry to compile no. They fight again. They beat each other. Sura beats Baya's tail. Baya does the same with Sura. He beat so hard that Sura finally gave up and returned to the sea. Baya is happy. Okay, from the story, I want to ask you, what kind of the story? What? Yeah, narrative text. So today we will learn about narrative text. I want to ask you, who knows what is narrative text? What? Yeah, narrative text is imaginative story to entertain people. So, the purpose of narrative text is to amuse or to entertain the reader with a story. Okay, and then there are some genre of narrative text. The first is fable, the second is myth, the third is legend, and the fourth is folktale, the fifth is fairy tale, and the last is love story. Let's see the example of the fable. There are the ant and the grasshopper, and for the myth there are Nyi Roro Kidul. For legend there are Toba Lake, and folktale there are Malin Kundang, fairy tale The Ghost and the Golden Eggs, and love story Romeo and Juliet. I think you ever listen, watching, or read of this story. Okay, let's move to the next slide. There are some generic structure of narrative text. The first is orientation. It is about the opening paragraph where the character of the story are introduced. Like person, time, and place, it will be explained in the orientation. The second in complication, where the problem in the story developed. And the third is resolution, where the problem in the story is solved. And the last is reorientation. It is optional, can be added or not. For reorientation contains the conclusion of the end story. And now there are language features of narrative text. The first is using part action verb. For example, climb, turned, and broke. And using specific noun as pronoun of person, animal in the story. For example, the king, the queen, and etc. And next is using adjective, which are for nouns phrase. For example, long black hair, 2 red apples, and etc. And next is using time connective and conjunction to arrange the events. For example, is then, before, after, soon, and etc. And next is using adverb and adverbial phrase to show the location of event. For example, here, in the mountain, ever after, and etc. And next is using dialogue to elicit an emotional response from the reader, using past tense and using a variety of simple, compound, and complex sentence. Okay, I think that's all for narrative text. This is the example of narrative text. I want you to find out the generic structure of the story, Snow White. Please find where the reorientation, where the generic structure of the story, and I will check in next week. This is as your homework, so that you learned in your home. I think it's enough for today. I hope you stay healthy, stay safe in your home. For your good attention, I say thanks. Bye bye.